One more thought in our Leaf Hour, and you mentioned Hakanpää being named to Team Finland.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually think that this is a good sign for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
That long term.
He's on this team because there has to be a sense that he's going to be around.
Yeah.
He's going to be around and he's going to play at some point. And it's not like he's completely on Robida Island right now.
You're right. They have not written him off.
There would have been plenty of opportunities for Brendan Shanahan or Brad Treliving to go back to Team Finland and say, hey, bud, like, he's got the knee of a matchstick.
Yeah. Like, guys, you don't want to do this.
A wooden matchstick. Okay?
But maybe this is like the Doughty thing where they're like, he's either can do it and we want him, or we can't do it and we get to pick someone else anyway.
I think it's just a matter of where he is in terms of feeling good or not feeling good. I think he's going to be on this cycle where it's like good
Two
week,
games,
good
1
good
month
week,
out.
good week,
Yeah.
bad 2 days, 3 days, good week,
Yeah.
bad week, and you just hope if it's Finland that you catch him on a good week.
You know, if you're Henry Jokiharju or Urho Vakanainen, you're standing by, you're at the ready. Let's put it that way. So there's a couple of Finnish options in the NHL waiting to step in.
Okay, Nashville. What do you got for me? What are you thinking? Is this just another game like Chicago where they can kind of play at times poorly and still get away with 2 points?
It's hard, right? They haven't had much success lately, but they've lost 4 straight games. They lost to the Devils, very good team. Lightning, very good team. Wild, best team in the NHL right now. Like, they're not rolling over to, tomato cans here. They've played some good teams. We know they have good players, but yeah, it's it's a game you should win.
Berube had a good clip on the Nashville Predators. Why don't we play that and react off of it?
Clip 5.
Well, I look at their team the last 10 games, and they've really tightened things up, in my opinion, defensively, and they've been a lot better. I think they got 5 overtime losses in those games. So, I mean, their record could be a lot better. They got good veterans over there. I'm not going to name them all. They got a real good goalie. So it's a challenge. It's a desperate team right now, the way I look at it, the situation they're in. So we need to be ready to go and match that desperation.
I love that he's like, I'm not doing your homework for you.
He's like,
3 straight OT losses.
Yeah.
We spoke yesterday of the New York Rangers and how collectively they're all underperforming, underachieving. And this team's right there with them.
Yeah.
When especially when you factor in the key signings. On paper, they look fantastic, or at least a team that could quite easily make the playoffs.
You would have thought so preseason.
You would have thought so.
Yeah.
But that chemistry thing has not worked out.
It's real. It's fascinating, too. Like Stamkos, who they gave a pretty good chunk of change to. On the power play, 6 goals, even strength, 1. Points on the power play, he's got 10, even strength, 3. Like his numbers on power play and even strength are night and day. So he's like kind of a one-dimensional guy for them right now.
Nashville kind of gave me a thought that I was, just looking at their roster and looking at the way their season's gone and how, by all accounts, they quote-unquote won the offseason, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would say that their offseason this year is certainly a cautionary tale for this upcoming offseason for the Toronto Maple Leafs, where, there's been a ton of talk, and I don't really want to get into the Marner thing right now, but there's been a ton of talk about him leaving, John Tavares leaving, all that relief off the cap and all this money to go out and spend on free agents. And it's like, you can go out there, you can spend all this money on free agents, and you can look better on paper, and you can convince yourself that these new guys are going to be different, but, you might not be any better. And you might actually be way worse. And it's a bit of a cautionary tale for me looking ahead for the Leafs here. Because the Leafs are going to have so much cap space, especially if Marner and Tavares walk here. $22 million, all these big name free agents, the Bennetts out there, all these that are ripe to be overpaid.
Yeah.
and you do it, and you're like, oh crap, we're not
Go
going to
take your $30 million into Dollarama and see what the best you can do is. It's tough.
I don't think that the Leafs have a foundation that's as bad as Nashville. Like, the Leafs have a good foundation, and I think they'd find a way to be a good team. But it's just, you can't change everything in free agency and think you're going to be a cup contender, because it rarely ever works.
Is that a lesson that Barry Trotz has found out the hard way right now?
Yeah,
or do you think
so.
that there's some hope here?
Well, it's funny, like, Nashville must have thought, or they must have talked themselves into being close, don't you think? Like, to go get old guys, and yeah, let's go, in context of the league, these are old players in Marchessault and Stamkos. They must have thought they're pretty close. Or is it that market that they have to compete?
I think they're still good players.
Yeah.
But it's almost as if that you had Brent Burns in San Jose, and you went and got Carlston, and they never mixed. Mm-hmm. It never worked.
You think
I'm looking at
just
Stamkos and Marchessault, like two right-handed shots, two guys that can kind of play similar. I know Stamkos has got more of a reputation as the top of the circle slap shot, but
Marchessault was great on the power play last year.
But you didn't need two guys that are quite similar. Mm-hmm. If they would have picked one, and for me it would have been Stamkos, left Marchessault off, and go get another quality centerman. Mm-hmm. And Ryan O'Reilly cannot be the number one centerman on this team. It's just, he's too far gone. He's trending right there with Tavares, mm-hmm. where it's like, yeah, on some nights he can look really good, but
he can't generate it on his own.
He's not in the right slot right now at this point of his career to carry this roster.
Part of me believes, and I don't know anything, but like, if you're Ryan O'Reilly and you're familiar with this Toronto market and you know that you are in decline, like, he would have some idea where he's at in his career arc. This would have been a really tough market to sign for 4 years and have people all over you as you're not as good as you once were.
Well, is that the main reason why he didn't sign here?
It would have factored into my decision, but I can't speak for him.
I also think that where he would slot on the Toronto Maple Leafs right now,
he'd look a lot better.
He'd look a lot better, I think, right? I mean, this team, I don't think they'd be struggling like the Nashville Predators are. He'd be more part of a team that's playing well, and people would be,
but
frankly,
he'd still
loving
be the
him.
Same player and just maybe propped up a bit
better
for a while.
Yeah.
But he's still a power play guy. Like, their specialty teams actually are strong.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not sure.
But
let's find out.
Where would he have been on a Leaf power play?
Yeah, that's true. So they're 17th in
Tavares
power
still
play.
Here.
Just 10 seconds left in the power play.
Really good PK.
Best in the NHL.
And power play?
89% power play is 17th in the league.
Mid.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So they're going to be fun to watch tonight just because big stars try to figure out what's going on there. UC Saros up against Joseph Woll. They won't have Jake McCabe tonight, which is, I think, genuinely surprising considering what we heard after McCabe took the puck to the head.
What did we hear?
Well, we heard the coach say, they said
it wasn't serious.
It wasn't serious.
And he took part in the main practice yesterday, was a part of the line rushes.
Said he felt good.
And said he felt good after.
Yeah.
And then
I'm getting a completely different sense this year from previous years where even if they think it's day to day, they got no problem a guy sitting out a week or multiple games. I think it's completely changed because they've now established true depth.
Yeah.
And they're not scrambling in the standings, and they don't go through long funks. So I think this is just really about keeping guys fresh, keeping them in, and getting to April where there isn't any more wear and tear on guys than you really have to be. He could play. For sure he could play. If this was we have a game one of the playoffs, meaningful game for a division, he's playing.
Yeah.
But this is the new Leafs right now. We got depth. Let's spread it around.
I do think this one is a little, the fact that he practiced yesterday and was part of the line rushes and said he was going to play yesterday. This one is a little bit more less of a lie.
Now concussion symptoms, you think?
Less of a lie, and him actually maybe not feeling great. Well, because they've been lying to us for
less of a lie.
Less of a lie is just a fib.
Less of a lie.
Well, they've been lying for the
So you
entire
go home
season.
sometimes and tell your wife, this one was just less of a lie, honey.
I never lie to my wife, and she listens to this show. So I just we can listen to the clips. Oh yeah, Kipper, you have my sheet. There's two McCabe updates.
There's a clip one there.
Clip one.
From Brewy.
The Toronto Maple Leafs may be taking a new approach to salary management, which could directly impact Mitch Marner's contract negotiations. During Kyle Dubas' tenure as general manager, the team didn't hesitate to spend heavily, and this trend began with a 6-year extension signed by Marner in 2019. At the time, Marner's $10.9 million annual cap hit set the market for superstar wingers, surpassing comparable players like Mikko Rantanen of the Colorado Avalanche, who signed a 6-year deal with a $9.25 million annual cap hit. Now, however, times seem to be changing. TSN's Pierre Lebrun recently reported that the Maple Leafs have implemented an internal salary cap, aiming to ensure no player earns more than captain Austin Matthews, who signed a 4-year extension worth $13.25 million per season in August 2023. The team's primary concern revolves around Marner's agent, Darren Ferris, who, according to Lebrun, might push for a percentage of the total salary cap instead of a fixed dollar amount. This could result in Marner's cap hit exceeding Matthews' $13.25 million, conflicting with the Leafs' new financial strategy. Ferris is known for driving negotiations to the limit, often taking his clients to free agency. This raises fears that discussions between Marner and the Leafs could drag on until July 1st, giving Marner and his camp all the leverage in negotiations. Another complicating factor is the rising market. Lebrun noted that Mikko Rantanen believes he could secure $14 million per season as a free agent. This sparks the question, could Marner demand even more? And would Ferris take that gamble, knowing the Leafs might opt to move on and sign another player? Marner has made it clear on multiple occasions that Toronto is where he wants to be. As a local player with deep ties to the city, he's expressed his desire to spend his entire career wearing the blue and white of the Leafs. However, staying with the team may require him to accept less than market value, especially if the front office remains committed to its new salary structure. Such a sacrifice could be vital for the team's collective success and to avoid financial issues that have plagued the recent past. While negotiations are still in the early stages, it's evident that Marner's future with the Leafs is at stake. Maple Leafs fans may need to prepare for the possibility of significant changes, but they can also trust in the player's commitment to the city and the franchise to find a compromise. The Maple Leafs' decision to implement an internal salary cap reflects a broader shift in their team-building philosophy. After years of prioritizing top-end talent with hefty contracts, the organization appears determined to strike a balance between superstar contracts and depth throughout the roster. This strategy aims to avoid the pitfalls of past seasons, where a lack of financial flexibility often left the team vulnerable in critical playoff moments. For Mitch Marner, this shift creates a unique challenge. On one hand, his value to the Leafs is undeniable. A consistent top scorer and elite playmaker, Marner has been instrumental in driving the team's offense. On the other hand, his ability to command a salary that rivals or exceeds Austin Matthews could put the Leafs in a difficult position, especially with a potential need to strengthen other areas of the roster. As the 2023-24 season progresses, the Leafs must weigh the potential consequences of sticking to their cap philosophy. Losing a homegrown talent like Marner would undoubtedly sting for fans and the organization alike. However, allowing one player to dictate financial terms beyond the team's structure could hinder long-term success and force painful sacrifices elsewhere. Adding to the complexity is the looming free agency of William Nylander. If the Leafs are to stick to their internal salary cap, they may also face challenges in retaining Nylander, who could command a significant raise. Balancing contracts for both Marner and Nylander within the new framework could prove to be the ultimate test for Toronto's management team. Another factor at play is the team's ultimate goal, winning the Stanley Cup. While star players like Marner and Matthews are crucial, history has shown that depth and balanced rosters often prevail in the postseason. If the Leafs fail to manage their finances effectively, they risk falling short of building a championship-caliber team, even with elite talent. For Marner, the decision to stay with the Leafs might come down to more than just dollars. His connection to the city, the fans, and his teammates could be deciding factors. If he prioritizes legacy and loyalty over maximizing earnings, there's a strong possibility that he'll work with the team to find a deal that benefits both parties. Negotiations will also test Darren Ferris, known for his hardline tactics in securing lucrative deals for his clients. While pushing for top dollar is expected, Ferris may need to weigh the risks of alienating the Leafs' management and fanbase. A prolonged stalemate could damage Marner's relationship with the team and its supporters. The Leafs management, led by general manager Brad Treliving, faces a pivotal moment. Treliving's reputation as a negotiator and team builder will be on full display as he navigates this high-stakes scenario. Striking the right balance could solidify his tenure in Toronto, while a misstep might set the team back for years. For Maple Leafs fans, the coming months will be filled with anticipation and uncertainty. Marner's future, along with the team's ability to stay competitive under financial constraints, will likely dominate conversations as the season unfolds. Supporters can only hope that the team's new approach leads to greater playoff success and, ultimately, the elusive championship. In the end, the outcome of these negotiations could redefine the Maple Leafs' identity for years to come. Whether it results in retaining Marner or reshaping the roster, the team's commitment to an internal salary cap signals a clear focus on long-term sustainability. Fans will be watching closely, hoping for a resolution that keeps the team's core intact and their championship dreams alive. As the negotiations with Mitch Marner